Welcome to Inside Games, the only channel brave enough to actually play Star Wars Outlaws 2.5 months before the game is out.
That's right. We're graduating into true games journalism. But I'll one up you, Bruce. I think we might be the only gaming news outlet brave enough to kind of like Star Wars Outlaws. I shouldn't speak for you. I should speak for myself.
No, I did like it. You can speak for me.
Yeah. I'm kind of I think more often than not, I'm the jaded one, right? Especially when it comes to like AAA open world, like, yuck. But I guess because of that, I should say I didn't have the highest expectations going into Star Wars Outlaws. I played Avatar, and it was fine. It was beautiful, but fine, and that's kind of what I thought we'd be getting. But I think there's a little more awareness of the kind of product they're making and the ways that they're delivering it. I saw some sparks of, I won't say like, it's not genius, right? And I don't think they're even trying to make something that's profound. But I do think they kind of hit a lot of just very cozy Star Wars scoundrel Han Solo moments, and they kind of created a game that lets you relive a lot of those movie moments. And I thought that's what Star Wars games were for, or at least some of my favorite games are that. They just kind of recreate big movie set pieces with a dumbass story. You get the sound, you get some references, and you're on your way. And this is actually a little bit more than that, I think. So that's my big wind-up. I don't know, Bruce, what were your thoughts coming in, and how did you feel coming out?
Inside Games is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global men's lifestyle brand that's revolutionizing the landscape of men's grooming. And if you don't know what I'm talking about 20 million balls. Today, we're going to look at their latest treasured chest, the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra has an upgraded trimmer blade, which features longer, wider, and rounded teeth that cut through hair with ease. It's tough on hair, but incredibly gentle on the skin, so it's a precision powerhouse. It also has a bigger LED light and introduces a dual temperature feature, thoughtfully engineered to embrace and flatter multiple skin tones. And if you want to bid farewell to those bothersome nose hairs, hey, check out the Weed Whacker 2.0. It's waterproof, cordless, and rechargeable. And of course, it's built with skin-safe technology. If you purchase the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, you will receive 2 free gifts. First off, you get the Boxers 2.0, which features the jewel pouch, and you get Shed 2.0. It's like the grooming command center, helps you organize all your gear and prepare for all those epic quests down there. So join the 10 million men worldwide who put their confidence in Manscaped for all things grooming and hygiene. Head over to manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com and get your hands on the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Make sure you use the promo code INSIDEGAMES. That's promo code INSIDEGAMES. You get 20% off plus free international shipping plus 2 free gifts. I promise you, your balls are going to thank you. I felt exactly the same way going in as I did coming out, which was I knew the developer because they made the Avatar open world game. And like Lawrence says, the Avatar open world game is really beautiful. I enjoyed my time with it. I played like 8-9 hours of it, really enjoyed it. But I wasn't like, oh my God, like it blew my mind or anything. It was like, I enjoyed it. So I knew exactly what this would be. And that's what it is. It is a very standard, fun Star Wars video game that is super clean. We didn't play any of the open world sections. We only played like these on-rails quests that I assume are story quests. Along your way of exploring the open world. So I didn't get to see the open world, and that was kind of the one part that I was the most interested in. But the quests themselves felt very curated, super easy, super clean, really fun to use the different abilities that she's got. She has sort of a Deadeye ability from Red Dead Redemption 2, and you can switch your blasters from, Ion Blaster to stun to kill and like stuff like. So there's all sorts of the Star Wars stuff that you expect. Plus, like Lawrence said, there's a bunch of fun moments along the way that are very similar to Smuggler or Han Solo moments that you would expect and that you've seen in movies. And yeah, I like that. I think that's fun. I like Star Wars. I'm wearing my Star Wars shirt because I like Star Wars, and that's what I wanted. So when I played the game, I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. I didn't expect any epiphanies in the Star Wars stories in a Ubisoft open world game, and I didn't get any, and that's okay. That's that. I expected a very standard, normal Star Wars story, and from what I could see, that's what this is.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the biggest thing that stood out to me is the recreation of those Star Wars moments, and I'll get a little more specific. There's one at the end of the first demo that I played was like crawling around an wrecked ship. Very Uncharted, you're hopping, you're crawling, you're hopping again. There's pretty clear marks of what you want to crawl on. I think some people have developed a bit of a resistance to that, of like the yellow paint.
Yellow
thing.
paint?
Yeah.
The yellow paint, yeah.
But hey, whatever, man. I guess I knew more what I was getting into here, so that didn't really bother me. Honestly, the environments look really good. They're super detailed. There's a lot of just like panels and buttons and readouts everywhere. Unlike the Avatar game, which I thought was like, it was beautiful, but honestly, it was lacking some like really core detail in the interiors and stuff. Or maybe I just don't have Avatar eyes and I can't appreciate how different this pot with a random pattern is on it than that pot. But things like the down ship, and there was kind of like a medieval village kind of thing later. Everything, like every corner was just packed with a lot of intricate detail. Whether it's like really cozy looking Episode 4 era Imperial wall panels and big old holographic 80s looking readouts that have different things on them. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted on the details, kind of literally there. But so yeah, at the end of that, she gets kind of another bounty hunter confronts our main character, whose name I'm blanking on right now.
K. I think it's K.
And she immediately does the Han Solo thing. She's like, whoa, 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 this must be a misunderstanding. Like, she tries to fast talk her way out of it. I was like, okay, yeah, we've been here before, but, you know, she's not saying the literal same lines, which is nice.
Which is good. That's good.
Yeah, right? There's a little dash on it. And then there was another level that ended, I guess it was a transition to spaceflight. Basically, there was a droid who was preparing a shuttle for you to take off, and you were at a firefight, like at the back ramp, waiting for it to come down. And so you're like shooting these stormtroopers as they're coming. You run onto the ramp as these bolts are like coming past you. You know, it's a very Episode 4 scenario, but it's in a different location, and you're getting to play it. So I was like, hey, that's nice. It's not, you're not replaying the movie, but it's basically the same moment in a different spot. And again, that's what I always liked about classic Star Wars games. Shadows of the Empire is just like, it's a rolling recreation of every big Star Wars moment with a different Han Solo knockoff. And people love that game, so I don't know. This seems like a kind of a new version of that.
Yeah, Lawrence is exactly right. This game, we should say, takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And I don't know where Lawrence's bias lies, but for me, it lies with the original trilogy. I love the original trilogy more than I like the prequels. So whenever I get to see something that is from the original trilogy, I get really excited about it. Because like Lawrence was talking about all the details on the walls and all the Imperial paneling and like the shiny floors inside the Imperial base is exactly what I want to see. And they did a fantastic job because again, I knew they would. It's massive entertainment. I knew they would do this. But it still was exciting for me to see. And the recreation of those Star Wars moments, this is going to sound weird, but I feel like Star Wars has dumbed us down so much now with the television shows and movies and stuff where they give us this explicit fan service that I'm so tired of, which is like, I have a bad feeling about this. If I never hear that line again, I will be so happy. I don't ever want to hear anybody say, I have a bad feeling about this in a Star Wars show. I'm looking at you, Acolyte. But I don't ever want to hear that again. You'll probably hear it in the video game, but at least they haven't thrown, like in these 3 demos, we only played about 30 minutes total of gameplay, maybe like 45 to an hour. I didn't see them throw an original trilogy character at me. Now I know Lando is in the game from trailers, but I didn't see that immediately, which was good. Because that means that they'd be everywhere. Now I do expect to see the occasional Lando, maybe a Han Solo, or like something like that, or like a random character from, I don't know, Empire Strikes Back or something like that. I expect that. But I don't want Luke Skywalker to walk directly up to me and be like, "Hey, Kay,
we're looking for heroes."
I don't want any of that. I don't want the, like, we need you to go do this for the rebellion. Like,
You did a great job, player. Like staring directly into the screen.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm excited that they are not yet showing us that from this story. I think it looks like a parallel story that's happening to all of the heroes we know and love, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, hopefully this is just Kay's big space adventure, trying to weasel out of whatever hot mess she's got herself into. What a rascal. I thought she's a fun protagonist. I kind of like her character design. Her jacket's cool. She definitely has that Han Solo shooting posture. Yeah, we get it. But, in terms of video game characters or a character that's going to be bobbling around on screen in front of you for a long time, I'd seem like a pretty good fit to me. She animates well in the game. Looking over my notes here, there's a couple little flourishes that I thought were super unexpected. You mentioned one already, that sort of mark and execute system. I've been thinking about that since whatever Split Conviction. I can't remember which Splinter Cell used it. It's the coolest thing in the world, and it's weird to me that more games don't use it. I guess Deadeye was the other one, yeah, but yeah, Kay can like go slow-mo and mark stormtroopers and then choo 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 like quick draw them all. That's cool. I wasn't expecting that. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the lock picking mini game.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of unique. It's timing based. There's like it basically gives you a rhythm to tap out, and then you have to repeat that with your controller. So that's we've been like 15 years on from Skyrim's lockpick, so it's kind of nice to get something new there. There was another kind of hacking where you have to basically guess like 3 symbols, and it does the thing where it tells you if it's the right one in the wrong spot or the right symbol in the right spot. So it's a little logic mini game.
It's Wordle.
Yeah.
When I was doing it, the guy that was doing the Ubisoft demo, he was like, "It's Wordle," and I was like, "Oh, I play Wordle every day." And I immediately got it. That was it.
Okay. I actually haven't played Wordle yet, so that's
Oh yeah.
let's see here. There's logs around, so that's cool, I guess. There's just little pick-upables. It's something. I was kind of surprised at how automated space combat was. Basically, you just hold left trigger, and your ship will like lock onto an enemy ship and track them surgically precise. And all you have to do is really hold one trigger and then the other. I imagine there might be more to it when you're getting attacked by multiple ships. Like you can't just mindlessly do that in order and then kill everybody. Maybe you have to heal or run away or do an evasive maneuver. But yeah, I was kind of shocked at how on rails the space shooting was. But I also kind of get it, because space shooting is usually not very fun unless there's like all kinds of mechanics in there to like do auto lock on or auto follow or something. So. Well, I don't know. What did you think about the space combat, Bruce?
Yeah, it's a great question, because a lot of people were asking. People were comparing it to Starfield's space combat, and they kept asking, "Is this like Starfield?" And actually, Starfield's is also very automatic and feels very, very easy. But I think I liked Star Wars Outlaws space combat more than Starfield's, even though it's also easy. Maybe the main reason is because it did feel like it took the smallest amount of skill to just put your crosshairs near the ship, and then once you hit auto trigger, then your ship would lock on and then you could shoot at it. So Starfield just felt like I was just like literally just spinning in a circle shooting at ships. Star Wars Outlaws is almost that, but it feels a little better. And you had more control over, like, you've got your boost and you've got your missiles and those sorts of things that you can do in space combat. But that's all that we really experienced. We also got to fly around like this debris field, and that was fun too. Again, just the fact that it was in Star Wars made me more excited about it than in Starfield. And also, Lawrence briefly mentioned it, but you can actually travel from space down to a planet.
They did it. The wizards did it.
They did it. All you do is you just like literally target the planet. It shows a list of cities. Then you go, I want to go to this city. And then it routes this little path for you, and it does it automatically. But you go from space to the planet. Now, obviously, it's hiding a loading screen, right?
You don't see the whole planet like zooming up and then...
No.
Yeah, it's like foggy and you go through the atmosphere. But still, it's uninterrupted and it's cool.
It's cool.
It looks cool.
It's cool, and it's so much better than the fade to black Starfield loading screen. Oh my gosh, so much. Like, this is Starfield could have easily done this and they just didn't. So thank God that Star Wars Outlaws did. I'm sure that someone along the way in this development was like, we're not doing that stupid Starfield bullshit. We're absolutely flying from space to the planet. So I'm glad they did.
Yeah, flying around, just exploring was actually pretty fun. There was the debris field that you mentioned. I like that there were whole chunks of ship, like abandoned floating ship that you could fly through. Super, super neat. Again, didn't really mean anything, but it meant something to me because that's just a Star Wars thing you always want to do.
Right.
I liked that. The thing you mentioned about Starfield space combat. I've played a lot of games that try to do space combat, and you're right. Usually you're just twirling and twirling and twirling. And that's what the enemies are doing too. So you're just in this giant washing machine. And so, some games will have, well, if you do this, you turn fast. So then you just do that all the time and you're just a little death ball. So yeah. I think I get it. Like, I think Ubisoft explored and found that, you know what, this is just the funnest. Why make people jump through those hoops that aren't really that fun? And especially if like people have trouble navigating in 3D space, this game is pretty obviously meant to appeal to a wide audience. So I get that. And if it makes it look cool and sound cool, then that's good enough for me. I did like that the ship's speed is kind of like more of a gear shift than it is like gas. You control it with like the left stick, and it just has 3 increments. So whenever you flick the stick up, the ship goes ka-chunk, and it like starts moving faster. So that actually feels pretty cool. You just like you like ratchet it up into gear, and then you're flying around with both sticks, and you can do some pretty cool maneuvers. So I thought that was neat. Sound in general, I thought was really nice.
Perfect. Just absolutely the sound design. It's one of the things that Star Wars has always been about, is the sound design, the movies and television shows and everything else. So the video game has just absolutely nailed it. And I think they know that. They know the video game has to nail the sound design of Star Wars, and it does. So I feel like just the art design, production design, all the way around for this game is fantastic.
Yeah, I think people kind of take for granted that Star Wars is going to sound good. Maybe because it hasn't for a while. I'm not sure. Like the TV series don't seem to really bring the heat for audio as much. Yeah, there was some just like Star Warsy sounds in the like wrecked ship. I remember walking on this platform that was held up with these retention cables that started snapping and wobbling, and it made a lot of cool like cool Star Wars sounds. So I'm into that. I liked it in that like kind of, there's like a medieval cobblestone village that has like Asian roofs. It's really cool looking. But the skybox has these like ships taking off and landing constantly, and you can hear them whooshing overhead. So, you know, again, it's nothing super profound, but in terms of delivering like a really cozy milkshake Star Wars experience, I think it's nailing a lot of those beats, you know? It's not Baldur's Gate 3, but I don't think it's trying to be. I did notice there were a couple of other bits that I thought were neat. Your little animal companion is actually really fun.
Yeah, Lawrence, we should talk about Nyx, because Nyx, like Lawrence said, is little animal companion, and before I let Lawrence just launch into what Nyx is, I want to say I was so tired of seeing this. I'm so tired of the little animal or little droid companion.
Little guy.
I was like, like,
I know, he's stuffed. He's got a little motor in him now.
He's so cute, and he runs around, and he does Star Wars things, and I'm like, please, none of this. And then as soon as I used Nyx, I actually loved him. So thank God that the game uses Nyx instead of just has him riding on your back and going, none of that. He actually does things. Now, go ahead, Lawrence. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, please. That's a really good point, because yeah, Nyx is surprisingly useful, and once you start, Nyx is basically like a remote interact. You can use Nyx to pick up items, to activate switches, to mess with or distract guards, so you just sucker punch them in the back of the head, which actually feels really cool. Kay's melee animations are pretty cool looking, pretty adventurous. She doesn't quite have the Han Solo haymaker. She does this like flying Superman punch that looks pretty neat. But yeah, I thought it was kind of weird because picking up stuff is clicking the right stick, which I was like, that's weird. But after a while, I noticed that like, yeah, the little Nyx icon appears over a lot of things. And if you hit left bumper, you just command him to go get it. So it kind of creates an interesting flow where like, yeah, Ubisoft games have a ton of bullshit to pick up. But now you can just be running down the hallway and tell your little buddy to grab everything for you while you're continuing to play the game. It sounds a little silly to offload the prospect of looting onto something else or someone else. But it does make you feel like you're multitasking, and I don't know, you get all the loot without any of the tedium. So I thought that was neat.
Absolutely, yeah. That was because you're looting a lot. It's an open world game, and I assume the stuff that you're looting along these missions will go into a crafting scenario where you're basically you're upgrading your weapons and upgrading your armor and stuff like that with the crafting materials that you loot. So you're constantly looting. And with Nyx, like Lawrence said, you just send them everywhere. We should talk about the stealth aspects of the combat versus the run in and start punching and shooting people, because you could do it either way. I ran it both ways when I played it. I tried going in there stealth and then had Nyx. You can have Nyx distract an enemy, and then he'll turn his back to you and you can punch him. Or you can have Nyx jump into his face, and then you can run up and punch him in the stomach and then take on another enemy while Nyx is distracting him. So there was a bunch of stuff. Also, if you need a heal, Nyx will go and pick his pocket and take stuff off of an enemy that will allow you to heal, which was like, I was like, that's really cool too. So I don't think I even really got to explore all of the things that Nyx can do, but the stealth felt super fun for me, and I don't even like playing stealth in video games generally. So like, that was like, I'll attempt to do this, like Lawrence said, with a multitasking thing and see what Nyx can do and see what I can do and manage to not alert the whole base. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, and it kind of leans into movie moments where scoundrels are getting one up on those clunky stormtroopers by like making a sound or bonking them in the head with a rock. Like there's a lot of that baked into it. There's a lot of just hapless stormtroopers with very narrow vision cones that you can kind of have your way with, which I thought was neat. Yeah, let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's like two more little bits that I thought were interesting. One is that it seems like you have like a galactic wanted level. One of the missions we played ended with like hacking a sensor tower to clear a wanted level. So I thought that was kind of neat. Hopefully it doesn't just end up being like a chore. You do a mission, they give you 5 stars, you go and you like slap a button to get rid of it. It would be neat if it actually meant that like colorful bounty hunters started just showing up and trying to bag your ass.
So I've heard, just so you know, I've heard people are saying that the Empire are like the cops in GTA. So your wanted level will go up, and then they'll send more and more of the Empire and Stormtroopers after you as your wanted level goes up. And now, like I said, we didn't get to explore the open world, so we don't know if that's actually the way it works. But that's what I've read, and that's what it seems like.
Okay, that makes sense. That could be neat. Hopefully, like the magic of GTA is that as the cops are chasing you, the chaos of the open world just starts tipping off the rails. Cops are ramming into each other. Cars are setting off chains of explosions. I'm not so sure that Star Wars Outlaws is going to have that level of ridiculousness in the open world, but it might. I'm not going to hold my breath though. I did notice there's a reputation system too. Certain vendors belong to certain factions, and then they would give you discounts or have additional items to sell based on your relationship with that faction. So maybe that implies a bunch of grinding or open world like automatic quest generation stuff, so you can get 50 XP with the Hutt cartel so that you can buy a different kind of jacket. I don't know. Something to do though, and if the game is Star Warsy enough and it's fun enough to run around in, I don't see that seems like a cool thing to extend playtime at least.
Makes sense to me because if you're a smuggler, that's what you would do. You would go to the different crime syndicates throughout the galaxy and literally level up your reputation with those people as you're stealing things for them or doing certain tasks. So the reputation system makes a lot of sense in this Star Wars context.
That's about all I had to go through. Like I said, I think it's a good sign if I sit down to play a game in my interest level and it actually goes up. Because usually it's the opposite, it's all mystery and intrigue until you get your hands on the controller. Then you find out it's a video game. But I'm okay with that, because I don't know, we haven't really had like a good meat and potatoes Star Wars game. I mean, of course there's the Respawn games, and those hit a particular kind of experience, but this sort of like open world, open galaxy, run and gun sort of thing, we haven't had in a long time, if not ever.
I was gonna say, have we ever had a proper open world Star Wars experience?
Lego. Nah.
Yeah. I don't even, the Lego games are great, but I don't consider them a Star Wars experience, much like Star Wars Outlaws is. So I'm really excited for it. We should say too, I think it's going to be very milquetoast. I think it's going to be right down the middle. I don't think it's going to take any risks. I think you will know exactly what you're getting into when you play this video game. And obviously they're charging $70 for it, and they're doing the 130, 140 deluxe editions, all that stuff. If you're worried about this game at all, just forget all about that stuff and just do the Ubisoft Plus monthly thing. It's like $18. I've heard apparently you can get through the main storyline in about 30 hours. So just knock it out in a month. Play it for a month, and if you like it, great, you like it. But if you don't, then you've only spent $18 on it rather than a $70 or $140,
I have to admit, I'm kind of surprised that people are hesitant or think that this game may not justify $70 retail. If they don't think this is worth $70, or at least compared to other games in the market, I'm not sure what is. Sheesh, the only thing that qualifies then is Grand Theft Auto. But we haven't seen everything in the game yet, but golly, Shadows of the Empire was $70 like 30 years ago. And that was a fun game. So again, to me, it's just, I think I've had enough of experimental Star Wars. I don't mind. I don't mind the classics, because the classics are what work. And, there's ways to do that without necessarily just recreating it line by line or shot for shot. So that's what I read from this game. And granted, they're going to put the best foot forward in a preview, but it seems like their heart's in the right place of just trying to get that kind of like original trilogy scoundrel experience, which does, I think, translate really well into a video game. and it's been too long.
It has. I also don't think there's any force powers, which I'm fine with, by the way. Totally fine with not having any force powers. Maybe they will throw them at you at the end of the game and be like,
yeah, right at the end.
You're
the tease forward to Outlaws 2.
Right, yeah, exactly. But I hope not. I'd rather it just be she's a smuggler and she's running around having a great time like Han Solo. I would love that.
Maybe she gets away with the greatest heist, and then it turns out she's run afoul of a Sith who's now on her tail, and then blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
I don't know, man. We could theory craft for days, but yeah, I hope it's light. I hope it's fun. I hope I get to run and gun, and it seems like that's what we got. So why overcomplicate it? Thanks to Ubisoft for inviting us to the preview event. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of all the comps we got. We had some popcorn shrimp.
That was from Assassin's Creed, though. That doesn't count.
Oh, that's right. That was upstairs.
That doesn't count. Well, hold on. I got these.
Oh, we smuggled out. Yeah, we smuggled out.
I got little. Well, yeah, we haven't even talked about sabacc. Now, apparently, you can play sabacc in this game, which is a big deal. But I stole some sabacc chips from their little casino thing. So that was fun. But we didn't get to play the game inside Star Wars Outlaws, which is a big deal because generally people have not gotten to do that yet, and I'm excited about that.
You think there's going to be a mini game where you can shoot somebody under the table?
Oh, there better be. There better be. Yeah, I know. McClunky.